it's really important to say that it doesn't matter what level you are in terms of like your actual theory in music, because there's always going to be someone, let's face it, that's a little bit better. I'm definitely not one of the best players out there, but one thing I will say, it's really important just to try your best, just maybe now and again, if you've got 5-10 minutes spare, just to do a little bit of theory. You can go on YouTube and just do a real quick, simple video where there'll be tutorials on just how to use, you know, kind of like basic chord progressions, and you'll grab a little bit of understanding before kind of doing this. Today we're going to focus on a really basic chord progression and then how that's going to lead into kind of sound design, recording bass, guitars, and actually kind of like recording actual live audio into your interface. I'm always going to start with a software instrument to keep it simple. And I typically like to start with maybe something like, you know, a piano, maybe something like live and raw sounding where you can really hear the chords. And once you know you're happy with that, you're going to be good. So I'm going to go into Native Instruments, we go into Contact, we're going to load up the Gentleman, which is a really nice VST from Native Instruments again. I'm just going to use this to actually try a few different chords out, so let's go. Okay, so now we've got this piano loaded up. I'm just going to turn this all up. Now what I look for in a chord progression is something really simple, and it's something that you can build on. So it might be you have two chord progressions. So one is what I would like to call like an A section, so it's maybe two chords. And then you've got a B section where you've maybe got 3 or 4 chords, which is great for your build-ups, breakdowns, middle eights and any extra sections. So without further ado, let's just sort of crack on with these drums and just have a little jam over maybe 2-3 chords and see how we can jazz it up. So we've already got 2 chords there, which I think they sound really nice. Really simple. And I'm just playing in the kind of key of C, so we're using just the white notes to start with, keeping this really basic. A little trick, you can always transpose your things up and down here. We might want to go up 1. We're going to try up 2. Okay, so that sounds really, really nice. I'm just going to try and mess around with those chords, maybe jazz them up a little bit. So instead of that, I'm going to go to, so it's a kind of minor 7th. And we're going to try this as our little bass note. Okay, that sounded really nice. Yeah, so I'm really happy with those 2 chords, they sound great. If you're a kind of like player that you kind of know what you're doing, but you're struggling keeping up to that sort of like 120 to 130 BPM, another really good trick is just to actually take your tempo right down. And I'll solo it just with the piano. And we're going to go down to maybe even 118, wherever you feel comfortable. We're just going to turn the click on. And go right down. Maybe even 110. You're going to be a lot more comfortable playing at a slower pace. And you can actually play something a little bit more complicated here. So I'm able to get all those extra little licks and things in, which I wasn't before. And also that bass line, which you can kind of hear it already. Something really nice there, and we'll move on to that and maybe make a thing of that. But for now, let's record in at 110. Okay. See, there was an extra little chord there. I probably wouldn't have been able to do if I was doing it at 126. So it's nice just to slow things down. I'm going to go in here, I'm just going to quantize that because I know my playing wasn't probably bang on point, and if you're just starting out, your playing's probably not going to be like, you know, you're not going to be like Mozart to start with. So we've got a little... cool, sounds great. Now let's go back into 126, which is where we were starting. Okay, cool, it's sounding great. So now we've got the groove and the kind of timing right. It's time to talk about velocity. So I'm going to go down here and I'm just going to grab all of these notes. You can see they're all kind of low velocity, so I'm just going to increase the velocity of everything here. I'm going to go up to around about 90. There's obviously the option to do a fixed velocity on the kind of functions menu here, where you go MIDI transform, fixed velocity, and then it'll bring up this window here. And you've got an option just to kind of fix all of your kind of like velocities on every note. So everything's going to sound super straight and just really robotic in terms of volume. So you're not going to have much dynamic. I like to keep it dynamic as possible, really. It sounds like there's a player in the room. It sounds like you're actually kind of a human being with a bit of feeling. So I've just increased the volume basically of what's going on here. I'm actually going to turn it down a little bit. Go to about 75, turn this down here. Okay, cool, it's sounding good. Just going to shorten this note here. We want all of these notes basically to be really short. This one here is a little bit too short. Okay, cool.